Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. It's your brother Ayathon back at you with another video. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. And I got an interesting video for y'all today. Spirit had me come across this video on social media. And it's his brother who's so-called Cherokee. He's a Gadite, and he called the Cherokee Nation to find out about enrollment. And he spoke to this devil there, who's supposedly a very knowledgeable guy in the history of Gad and the Americas and the settlements and the colonial times and all that. And man, the Spirit had him bring the devil out of this devil, like the forked tongue. He cornered this dude like a rat, cornered him like a rat. And you could tell this brother, whoever he is, that he had to listen to the Israelites, because the way he was speaking, he was speaking as if one of us was calling this devil. So the Spirit was definitely working with this dude, And this video is going to show you that absolutely that this whole African Kemetic stuff is just totally nonsense. And just even more of a reason why I believe this brother, he heard the Israelites, because just the stuff he was saying is things that we only teach. He's so-called what you call woke. And I'm not talking about Kemetic woke. I mean woke, Israelite woke. So I'm gonna play this video, and oh yeah, I want to bring a couple things out first. So you see on the screen, right? The pen is mightier than the sword. Now, what does that mean? Let's go to Wikipedia. What that means is the pen is mightier than a sword is a metonymic adage penned by English author Edward Bulwer Lytton in 1839, indicating that communication, particularly written language, or in some other interpretations, administrative power or advocacy of an independent press, is a more effective tool than direct violence. And this is something, goes back to something, reminds me of something I used to say on the camps, is that Esau stepped his game up, because Esau's genocide went from a physical genocide or physical slavery to a mental and spiritual slavery, a mental and spiritual genocide. And also what's something that's called a paper genocide, right? So what's paper genocide? I got two definitions. So here's a more high-level definition. Paper genocide means that a people can be made to disappear on paper. Boom. Okay, so let me go to the more in-depth. Paper genocide is a deliberate and systematic destruction of Native American Indian culture, language, and identity as a unique racial group by way of the illegal and oppressive race reclassification imposed on Native Americans, Indians, or blood Indians to the non-Indian races of Black, African American, white, or Latino Hispanic. So you got Gadites, Seminoles, Reuben also, but we're talking about Gad right now, of different complexions. So what they did, Esau did, by means of what they call paper genocide, is he forced them to reclassify themselves as Negro and as other so-called ethnic races. See, what Esau does is uses paperwork and his contracts to just create ethnic groups out of thin air. And this is how he made you to lose your identity. He did it through his paperwork, So what he did is he's getting rid of the real paperwork, or the original paperwork, which actually has your true identity, which is the scriptures, the Bible, and he's coming up and making up his own paperwork, And when you watch this video, you're going to completely understand. This is going to come completely to light. And I got a scripture also. And when you watch this video, this scripture is going to shine in your mind. Okay, that I'm going to read. So let's move on. They did the same thing to Jake, the 12 tribes of Israel. They're all calling themselves by different names that Esau just made up out of thin air on paper. Puerto Ricans, Haitians, African Americans. These names are made up by these Edomites, by the so-called white man. Okay. This even gives an example here. See, look, Paper genocide means that a people can be made to disappear on paper. In 1787, the 1787 census in Puerto Rico lists 2,300 pure Indians in the population. But on the next census in 1802, which is not even 50 years later, not a single Indian is listed. So, by way of paperwork, they completely eradicated an entire group of people just by paperwork. Do you see? So here's what the scriptures say. Psalms 94 and 19. This is written by King David. And you know what? This shows you that King David, not only was he a warrior and a mighty man, not only was he a king, but he's also a prophet. King David was heavily, heavily blessed. Verse 19 says, in the multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul. Verse 20, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee? And who is the throne of iniquity? The throne of iniquity are these Edomites. In particular, now we're talking about the Edomites that's in power, that are able to pass these legislations and brainstorm these different devilish ideas. These elites. But this includes all Edomites, okay? Because they're all on top right now. You know, what did the scripture say? That Esau is the end of this world, Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. Who was the blessing given to? The blessing was given to Esau and his descendants, the fatness of the earth. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? What is that talking about? That's talking about paper genocide. Which frameth mischief by law. A people can be made to disappear on paper. Alright, so that's all I'm going to say. Hey, you brothers, man, after you watch this video, post, put your comments down there and post your scriptures. I know a bunch of fiery scriptures are going to come out of this video here. And I'll put the brothers, his information in the description, so you can go check him out. I haven't watched any of his other videos, but from this video here, this brother's, he's on point, man. He's on point. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.
Greetings, peace, love, harmony, and light. This is Chief Kalanago with another video. Man, listen, I just had the most interesting conversation whatsoever. All right, so let me give you a prelude as to what this is about. Okay, a sister hit me up and said, hey Chief, you know what, I've traced my lineage and come to find out that my family is actually Cherokee, right? So I called the Cherokee Nation, trying to get, asking them about the application, how I could become a part of the member. And they said, hey, you know what, we don't have black people that's part of our nation. All right, so I was like, okay, well, you know what, give me the information, I'm going to call. Because as you guys know, I had already done a video questioning, the validity of the Cherokee Nation chief in Oklahoma. He has 132 Indian blood in him, but yet still he gets to be the chief. So today the Spirit led me to call the Cherokee Nation, and the conversation that follows is exactly what took place. All right, now whether they knew I was recording or not, I made it very clear from the beginning that it was on the record. Okay, so I do want them to hear that conversation, because you see, family, when you listen to this conversation very well, you will hear the semantics and the games that's being played. All right? You will hear the semantics and the game that's being played. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you listen to it, because I don't want to give it away. Listen to, and I'm not talking about just listen. I want you to hear the conversation, because there's a difference between listening and hearing. You see, listening is physical, but hearing is spiritual. So I want you to hear the conversation. Hear it. Let it resonate with your spirit and your soul. Okay? And then you'll peep the game. All right? So the conversation that follows is exactly what transpired or what took place. Okay? Once the video is done, then I will give my conclusion. All right? Peace.
Thank you for calling Cherokee Nation. If you know your party's extension, please enter it now. If you would like to dial by name, press the pound key. If you wish to speak to our receptionist during normal business hours, press 0 now or continue to wait while I transfer your call. Please hold for the next available operator. Lado.
Cherokee Nation, may I help you?
Yes, good day. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful day. Just have a couple of questions, to put on my records, or in my record rather. I know you guys a Cherokee Nation located in Oklahoma, correct?
Tahlequah, Oklahoma.
Okay. And what is the name of your chief?
Bill John Baker.
Bill John Baker. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I'm also Cherokee as well. So a quick question. Do you guys have any Cherokee members that are of the the dark skin, dark browns, the so-called black, so-called African American members?
Okay, I'm not sure. I'm going to transfer to registration, okay?
Say that again?
I'm going to transfer you registration.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Cherokee Nation registration may help you.
Yes, good day. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. They just actually transferred me to you, and I have a couple of questions. Just some questions for my record. I'm also Cherokee, but I wanted to ask, do you guys have any dark skinned so-called black, so-called African American members?
Well, I mean, we have the freedmen. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm just talking about because a lot of so-called black people, we are Cherokee, so I just wanted to know.
Mixed blood? Is that what you're talking about?
Say that again?
Mixed blood? Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
not mixed blood. I'm Cherokee. I'm not mixed, if anything. I'm just asking, do you have any members that's so-called black?
I don't understand your question, I guess.
Okay. Do you know what? Okay, so you have an idea of what they call black people right here in the United States, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So do you have any members that are so-called black, but they're Cherokee?
Well, I still don't understand. I mean, you can't be black and you got to be full blood.
I can't hear you. Say that again.
I don't understand I'm still not really understanding your question.
Okay, so all right. So how do I qualify to be a member of the Cherokee Nation?
You're saying you're Cherokee, but you're black.
Yeah. Well, I'm people consider me to be black, but I don't call myself black because I don't look black. Black is black. It's a color. I'm not a color. So
what do you mean?
I'm brown. I'm brown of copper tone. I'm not black.
Okay, but that doesn't. You still have to prove what your race or your ethnicity is by your. We use what is called the Dawes Roll.
Okay.
And the Dawes Roll was established by the federal government, and that was taken between 1899 and 1906 in what is now northeastern Oklahoma.
Okay.
And that was taken for the people who came over on the Trail of Tears.
Okay.
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 And they were able to sign that if they met the eligibility requirements back then.
Okay.
So if they were here and they met those eligibility requirements, they could sign up on there and get a roll number. Now, if we can trace a lineal ancestor back to the Dawes Roll, then you would be eligible to apply with the Cherokee Nation.
Okay, and when was that?
Or one of the other 5 civilized tribes or whatever that might have come over on the Trail of Tears.
Oh, okay, I get that. So when was that Dawes Roll taken again? In
1899 through 1906.
Okay. So I could trace my family here in the Americas way before 1806, but
we don't need to go back that far. I said 1899 to 1906.
So what happened
We're talking about 7 years.
Okay, so what happened?
We're looking at a 7-year time window.
So what I'm asking is, what happened to those of us who didn't partake in the Dawes Roll period?
Okay, then you would not be eligible.
You wouldn't be eligible, even if I'm American Indian.
Right. You had to sign up. Your ancestor would have had to sign up on the Dawes Roll. Correct.
Okay, and you said so your chief is I think 132 Cherokee, right? Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So
Possibly.
well, that's what it says, because I've done some research, because I've been trying to connect back to my roots, right?
Okay.
So if your chief is 132 Indian, then what is the other 32? Because if he's
So
only
we don't have
1%.
a blood quantum cutoff. We don't have a blood quantum.
But,
It all goes back to if you can prove if you had a lineal ancestor that signed the Dawes roll. That's what we use.
Okay, so
if you can prove that.
So essentially, even if I'm full-blooded Indian, because I'm a full-blood Indian, all right? So even if I'm full-blooded Indian, because I wasn't on the Dawes rolls, or my family wasn't on the Dawes rolls, that means I cannot be part of one of the 5 tribes, correct?
Well, if they use the Dawes roll,
No, we
5
didn't.
civilized tribes
Yeah.
use the Dawes roll.
Okay.
Okay. Now other tribes use different things as far as their eligibility goes.
Okay.
Go. But we happen to use the Dawes roll, yes.
Oh, wow. To me, that's a little bit, I know it's nothing that you could do about it, but it's a little bit unfortunate because, again, my ancestors have always been in the...
That's what happened in the history. That's what happened way back then, and there's nothing we can do about it now. You know, that's what happened back then, and that's what, they had the freedom to choose if they wanted to sign those rolls back then. Some people did and some people did not, but they weren't forced to sign them. They could choose to go on their way and not be a part of the Cherokee Nation, and they could do what, live and be where they wanted to be.
Okay. All right. That's true. I get that from your perspective, but, and again, I just need clarification. So I really appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to share some of that information, to me. So my next question is, are you aware, or do you know that, the Aboriginal people of all the Americas were dark-skinned people?
Can I transfer you to someone else that knows a lot more about this than I do?
Okay, yeah, okay.
I just answer the phone. Just a moment.
All right, thank you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Registration. This is David. How can I help you?
Yes. Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right, cool. So you're the third person I've been transferred to. So I'm just trying to get, some clarification, for my, to put on the record. I'm Cherokee by blood pedigree. And I was asking, how do you become, a part of the Cherokee Nation? So is there any way you could give me some information on that?
Sure. The process for enrollment with the Cherokee Nation requires an ancestor on the Dawes Commission roll, and that roll was made in 1902 in Indian Territory, now Oklahoma.
Okay.
And if you don't have an ancestor on that roll, regardless of how much Indian blood you may have, you are not eligible to enroll.
Okay. So, all right. So, what you just told me is straightforward. So I guess my next question, it kind of, makes it a little bit obscure because my family, they didn't participate in the Dawes Rolls. However, we have been in America from time immemorial. We have always been here. So that means I wouldn't be able to even submit an application and be accepted, correct? Because it's not done through blood. It's done through, so it's done through an organization and not through blood, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, our tribe is, and we have a constitution that we adopted in 1976 and then amended in 2003. And in that constitution, the Cherokee people who were organized at that time chose the Dawes roll as the sole source of proof for our organization.
Oh, okay. So with that being said, is it safe to say that even if someone wasn't an Indian by blood, okay, meaning that their ancestors have always been in the America, as long as they were able to get on that Dawes rolls, they are still considered Indian?
Well, they're considered a citizen.
Or they're considered a citizen?
Right. The relationship between the United States and the Cherokee Nation is not based on blood. It's based on treaties.
Okay.
So if someone's ancestors were members of the tribe at one time, but for whatever reasons they may have chosen to leave the tribe or forced out of the tribe or abandon the tribe, there's lots of scenarios. the tribe itself would have continued on.
Oh, okay.
And so the relationship between the United States and the Cherokee people is carried out through our government.
Oh.
And so we do have people in our tribe who are not Indians.
Okay.
We just got through with an extremely contentious legal battle with the descendants of our slaves.
Okay.
And so they won a federal lawsuit and are now enrolling as members of the tribe, even though some of them have Indian blood, some of them don't. We don't care one way or the other.
Okay.
What we care about is, are their ancestors on the roll that the core population chose in 1976?
Okay.
And that they are.
Okay.
And, you know, we have people on our roll that are on there by fraud. We have, I found probably, I'd say about 5 or 6 families that their ancestors either bribed officials or, you know, whatever the process was.
Okay.
But they got on the roll.
Okay.
And then stayed on the roll for all these years. And so by virtue of our choice to make the Dawes roll the sole source, they're in.
Okay.
One of those descendants is sitting right now on our tribal court.
Oh, okay, okay. All right.
Drives me nuts every time I see him. But
yeah, I feel you.
It is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. So my next question would be, I'm actually, if someone were to see me in the streets without my, you know, my indigenous attire, because, you know, I wear my feathers and my, you know, my regalia, you know, every single day. Now, if I were to walk in the streets without that, somebody would assume I'm black because of my complexion. So you know where I'm going with this. Do you have any people who fit that description that's actually part of your nation?
Yes. You know, we have, as I mentioned, you know, the descendants of our slaves. They are now members of the tribe.
Oh, and they're descendants of slaves.
Right. They are descendants of slaves. Now, some of them do have Indian blood because the slave masters, you know, creeping in the slave house and producing children.
Right.
But those children were not recognized by any legal marriage.
Okay.
And so their descendants are not enrolled as Indians. They are enrolled as freedmen.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, and that's perfect. Great information, which brings me to my next question. Because I've done a little research. Again, you know, I'm connecting back to my tribe, and I'm a full-blooded Indian by blood, right? What that means is, are you aware that in the Americas, all over the Americas, I mean, we know that the United States was established on the American continent in 1776, correct?
Well, yes.
Okay, so before 1776, there was no such thing as the United States. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, beautiful. So before that, even before the 13 colonies and all that, even before the so-called transatlantic slave trade, are you aware that all the people on the American continent were dark-skinned?
Well, I know where you're going with that, and you know that's the Afrocentrism argument, and we don't subscribe to that.
Well, it's not a matter of subscription. It's a matter of, you know, do you know that it's a fact that the Aborigines of this land were dark-skinned? So therefore, if all the Aborigines of this land, and it's scientifically proven that they were dark-skinned, how is that other people get to claim to be Indians and then we can't because we didn't take part in the Dawes Rolls?
Well, the Dawes Roll was selected by the Cherokee people, who were the people who owned the Cherokee Nation.
Oh, okay,
we are the Cherokee Nation. And
okay, so is the same thing. So all right. So what is the original name for Cherokee?
You mean in our language?
No, it was Anianwea, right?
Well, that's the word for principal people.
Yeah, the principal people. So so what I'm saying is Anianwea was changed to Cherokee. Is there a reason why you guys don't use Anianwea and now use Cherokee?
We do use that word among ourselves.
Okay.
In our relationship with the United States, the United States knows us as Cherokee, and so that's what the treaties say. So we go by what the treaties say when we're in dealing with them.
Oh, okay. So the United States pretty much decided to say, okay, you know what, we're not going to use Anianwea. Let's just create something new, and then we created Cherokee. in essence?
Well, that word has also a Cherokee origin, but it's the word Cherokee is an anglicized version of the Cherokee word Ajilaki, which means people of fire.
Right.
And so, we don't mind being called Cherokees. We've been called that for 500 years, so we don't have a problem with that.
Okay. And before I conclude, again, I've done some research, and I realized that no disrespect, and I'm here again just to get information. So I'm not going to disrespect your culture because I think everyone needs to be respected either way. So I'm going to respect that. However, I've done some research, and I realized that your chief is John Bill something, right?
Bill John Baker.
Baker, yeah. So I realized, I found out that he has 132 Cherokee.
He's actually 332nds, but that's neither here nor there. He's still pretty much a white man.
Yeah, and I did a lot of research and realized that his ancestors is actually from Ireland and German and everything, but yet still he gets to be a Cherokee. And so how is that even possible?
Well, it's possible because his ancestors were citizens of the Cherokee Nation.
Oh.
Citizenship does not divide.
Oh,
it passed 100% from parent to child.
Mm-hmm.
And so his ancestors, who actually were Indians, I'm related to him distantly, but his ancestors were Cherokee Indians at the time of discovery. His ancestors were citizens of the Cherokee Nation at the time of the first making of the Treaty of 1783, and so they've been citizens of the Cherokee Nation ever since. So we don't base anything on blood quantum.
Oh, yeah,
we base it on
that,
whether your ancestors were citizens of the nation.
Because the research that I did, it shows that he's not Cherokee he's not even an Indian by blood, period.
Well, he is.
Yeah,
he is an Indian by blood.
But so if he is an Indian by blood, that's what I'm saying is then he's supposed to be a so-called dark man because, again, the dark-skinned people were the original Indians. So, again, where did he get to be an Indian by blood?
Well, his ancestors intermarried with white people. But he looks
Caucasian to me, though. That's what I'm saying. And when you say white, do you mean that white in the sense of
white European?
Oh, because they're different so-called looking white people. So again, that kind of like it's kind of like a word play. You know what I mean? It's semantics. You know what I mean? Because again, he looks white, but he may not be white European or Anglo-Saxon, but he's a white man.
I would say so.
Exactly.
I mean, if I saw him walking down the street, I would say, there goes a white man.
There you go.
However,
so that's what I'm saying.
However, our tribe is not necessarily made up of just brown or dark-skinned people.
Okay.
The Cherokee Nation is made up of citizens.
Yeah, and I get that. I totally get that, and I respect that. So again, so I guess all the Aboriginals, because would you guys consider yourself Aborigines?
I would consider us to be Aboriginals, and our government is an Aboriginal government.
Oh, okay, so again, and once again, I mean, and it's not even Afrocentric because do you believe that? First of all, do you believe that life originated in Africa?
Life or
life,
or
period. Human life.
No.
You don't believe that?
No, I do not.
Okay, it's great, perfect. So if life didn't originate in Africa, how is it assumed that all dark-skinned people are from Africa? I mean, when the sun shines all over the world and the equator actually runs between, the continent of Africa and the Americas, and everybody in South America was dark-skinned. So how is it assumed that every dark-skinned person is African?
I don't assume that.
No, I'm not saying you, but I'm talking about in terms of, because you see, when I mentioned that all the dark-skinned people in the Americas were dark-skinned, you said that's Pan-Africanism. But again, we are agreeing that life didn't originate in Africa and all dark-skinned people are not African. So what happened to all the dark-skinned people that were actually on the American continent from time immemorial? Why is that? Because we didn't sign the Dawes Rules. I know you say it's a governmental thing. So what do we do from there? Do we petition so that could be changed, or it is just something that's ironclad? You had to have been on the Dawes Rules, whether you are an Aborigine or not, because like I said, it's scientifically proven that all the dark-skinned people were actually in the Americas before any light-skinned, pale, anybody, and the first people on the planet, to be quite frank, were dark-skinned. So that means everybody came from the womb of the dark-skinned woman, and that's scientifically proven. Isn't that a fact?
Well, I'm not really sure where you're trying to go with that.
No, what I'm asking
I'm not going to agree or disagree with you. I just know that my ancestors, which are Cherokee Indians, have been on this continent for thousands of years. And that my ancestors are not Africans. My ancestors are American Indians. And the people who are claiming that they are American Indians that are actually black, we don't buy into that. That's just not who we are.
Well, I mean, I know that's not who you are because once again, I mean, of course, I mean, if people come into a land and they met people there and they happen to settle in, because remember you said your ancestors came, right? So they've been here for thousands of years, but before they came, there were people here. So you see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this?
Well, I see what you're trying to say.
No, not what I'm trying to say. I mean, I'm saying that I have the facts that, you know, the people who actually call themselves natives right now, they haven't been here for thousands of years. So, you know, and I know it's a he or say you think it is, but we have the scientific and we have the legal documents and historical documents to solidify and prove that fact. So, you know, I get that you are saying that, you know, to be part of the nation, it doesn't deal with blood quantum. It just strictly deals with citizenship. So again, anybody could just say, okay, you know what? Let us just form an organization and let us just deal with the United States and we could be considered natives, you know, but yet still the people who will have been here again for millions of years, because my ancestors have been here for, I mean, I'm talking about, man, I can't even go back and pinpoint a time when my ancestors were not, you know what I mean? So at some point, guys,
because that's what you want to believe.
No, that's not what I want to believe.
But you see, the sad thing about that is.
So what I'm saying is this, right?
You've talked for about 20 minutes now.
Yeah,
so let me tell you what I think.
What you think?
What I think is that African American people have a personal opinion.
Okay.
I think a lot of African American people in this country have a lot of self-hatred, and so you guys want to be us. Because you don't want to be you. And so, you know, we can't change who you are and you can't change who we are.
Okay.
Our relationships with the United States are our relationships. Our treaties are our treaties. If you want to run around with feathers on and call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, that's your business.
No, I totally get that. Hear what I'm saying? And again, I'm not here to debate. It's just strictly a conversation. And I'm glad we're having this because it's a conversation that needs to be had. Because once again, you said that life didn't originate in Africa. So why are you assuming that, based on what you're saying, it's safe to say that you're assuming that every so-called black person...
You asked me, did all life begin in Africa?
And you said no.
And I said no.
So my next question is, do you think that...
Then I asked you, I said, do you mean human beings?
So
I said no.
This is the most appropriate question. Do you think that every so-called
people originated in Africa... Indian people originated in the Americas, white people originated in Europe, and Asian people originated in Asia.
But all right, so here's my question. Do you think that every so-called black person is from Africa?
No, because there are some in Fiji, there are some in Melanesia, there are some in India.
Okay.
You know, they're all over the place.
So what you're saying, you were saying that
I'm talking about the black people in the United States.
So here's what you're saying.
The black people in the United States came over on slave trips from Africa.
So what you're saying is that they from everywhere else on the planet except none of them was in America before slavery.
Nope, none of them. Well, some of them might have been. I don't know.
But come on, come on, brother. Come on. It's either they were or they are not. Because you see now you're being contradictory. Because if you're saying that so-called black people was on every other planet except America before the slave ship, you're saying that for some reason the sun didn't allow so-called black people to be in America before the slave trade. I mean, that alone in itself doesn't even make sense.
No, there were no black people here before Europeans got here because they brought you guys.
No, but guess what? Europeans didn't bring so-called dark-skinned people here. As a matter of fact, the first slaves on the American continent were Caucasians.
That's not even relevant.
No, it is relevant. It's absolutely relevant. It's absolutely relevant.
It's not. My grandmother, who was a full-blood Cherokee Indian, was dark-skinned. And
Cherokee,
if she had permed her hair, she could have passed for a black person in North Tulsa, which is our black community here. So, yeah, there were dark-skinned people here, but not all dark-skinned people are black. But
guess what? In fact, nobody's black. Africans call themselves black. We didn't call ourselves black. We are brown-skinned. So I don't consider myself
you guys
black.
had your own names for each other. I know that because you had your own tribes and your own languages.
So so now you are actually admitting that before slavery there were dark-skinned people here.
There were American Indian here
I'm talking about in terms of complexion. There were dark-skinned people here. We know we are American Indians, but they were dark-skinned.
No, you all are not American Indian. We are.
But
you all are black people from Africa.
Listen, man. I mean, I see the game that you're playing, and once again, I'm just saying that what the truth will come out to light, and the Creator, what I'm saying, will bring everything to light, and the truth will come out. Because the point I'm trying to make is, you're telling me that every so-called black person, dark-skinned person, was on the continent except America, and now you are telling me, well, some of them was here. Either they were or they are not. But then you're talking about black. I never said I was black. Black is a color that's really black. I'm not black. I'm brown. You see what I'm saying?
You're African.
So you're telling me I'm African, but you don't even know who I am, right?
I know what you've told me, and
what I told you was What I said was my ancestors have been on this landmass from time immemorial. Not at one point I said I was African, but you assume that I'm African.
No, you told me that.
No, I never said that. I asked you, do you think that all dark-skinned people are from Africa?
all this line of stuff that you're telling me, we hear it all the time.
So I'm lying.
People with your views call us probably about once a month and
No. I'm calling, and like I said, that's why I said, I'm calling because it's for the record, because we have to make sure that again we get to the bottom of this, because I realize that there are so many different cultures that's here usurping, our identity. And then when we approach them, they tend to, again, evade the question and deal with it from more of an organizational perspective. Okay, well, you know what? This is what the United States said. We are the Indians. Oh, no, it's not what they say. It's what is. You know what I'm saying? But I totally get where you're coming from. It's an organizational thing. You don't have to be an Indian by blood to be part of the Cherokee, because the United States, hey, you know what? They're foreigners. They came here. They fought over, my ancestors. And when I say my ancestors, I'm talking about the dark-skinned people who was on this continent before even you guys came. And they had to put somebody in our place. And I guess it happened that way. But the truth will come out. That's all I'm just saying. And again, I appreciate your time. Thank you. You gave a lot of insight. And I got what I was looking for. So I appreciate that. And again, time will tell. Time will tell. All will come to light. So I hope you have a great day. And look out for us, because we are coming. All right?
Got our eyes open.
All right. Take care, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yo, listen. I know y'all bugging over this right now, right? So I know you listened to the conversation. And I'm hoping that you heard the conversation. So you see how the game is being played. So you see, the dude, whoever I was talking to, he was getting stuck on, caught up on the whole black. Because you see, they know we are not black. So because the United States put us in a category of being black, so you see how I got him, right? Okay, I asked him, does he believe that life originated in Africa? He said no. You see, it's only you so-called black people who believe that bullshit. What they taught you, that life originated in Africa. Okay? Because they want to put you in Africa. Okay? You are the only people on the planet that believe life originated in Africa. That's number one. No other ethnic group believes that. All right? Now, he agrees that there were... So when I asked him, you see, he was trying to play the game, the semantics with the word. I said, listen, I'm not black, man. I'm not black, I'm brown. Okay? All of a sudden, he still want to maintain that I'm black. And he wants to assume that I'm African because I asked him, did life originate in Africa? Now, that's what he's assuming. So I say, okay, you know what? Let me flip it around. I asked him another question. Do you think that all dark-skinned people, what you may call black, do you think all dark-skinned people are from Africa. He said, well, no, yes, some are from Africa, and some of Australia, and some of, Asia, whatever, all these different places, but not in the Americas. So hold up, you're trying to tell me that everywhere else on the planet had so-called dark-skinned people before slavery, except in America? That's what the dude was telling me. And I said, bro, I'm not black. I said, brown. He said, well, yeah, there were some brown people, but but not black. I said, well, I agree. I'm not black. So I'm asking him, do you think that you are an Aborigine? Well, yeah, we are the Aborigine nation, but it's a fact, scientifically proven, historically proven, that all dark-skinned people in the Americas, Aborigines are dark-skinned. So how can you be an Aborigine? But then here's the thing. When I ask about the Anion-Wea, they had to change the name from Anion-Wea to Cherokee because you see, Anion-Wea is the organic. That's where all the dark-skinned people, they were part of that tribe. You feel me? So the U.S. government had to take that away from us, and now what they have to do, they have to create an organization called the Cherokee Nation. You peep the game, because they're not doing it by blood. It's what the United States said. The federal government, it's a contract. Hence, their chief could be foreigners from Asia, wherever, because he didn't deny that his chief is a so-called white man. I was like, hold up. When I look at that dude, he's a white man. And the majority of y'all got the same complexion with him. Oh, well, he is Indian. So I was like, hold on. How could he be European and at the same time be an Indian when you're telling me in his family, he came from a family with Indians? And when I did my research, the man has no Indian by blood. So that's how they are getting away with what they are doing to us. It is not by blood. They don't care if you're full Indian by blood. They know we are the original people they call the Indians. But they set up a system where it's not by blood. So they talk about the 1902, Dawes Rose. Well, if you're going to prevent us from getting on the Dawes Rose, how are we going to be on the Dawes Rose? When, you help the colonizers, to chase us out of our land, while we over here fighting for our lives, fighting for our land, doing everything else we are doing, do you think we have time to go and sign up for the Dawes Rose? And besides, a lot of our ancestors knew that it was a bunch of BS, so they didn't want to sign that anyway. So here you are. They put y'all on the Dawes Rose, and now we are being excluded because we were not on the Dawes Rose. But even if listen, man, y'all heard the conversation, man. And that's why we need to stop playing these games with these people. And that's why I always tell y'all, listen, man, you need to stop just talking. All the talking. It's time for some action. It is time for some action. Period. Because these people are not going to let it go. You see how adamant he was, right? Oh, well, you so Africans and this and that. Man, listen, we just had the conversation. And you agreed that not every dark-skinned person is from Africa. But you're trying to make me believe that they're from everywhere else except the Americas. So you know what? The most I said, listen, I'm going to give y'all a planet, Mother Earth, that's hot. It's hot. The sun is hot. All right? And I'm going to put dark-skinned people because they get their color from the sun, you know what I mean? And they have this coherence, this synergetic relationship with the sun. They are soul people. You're trying to tell me even all the way the equator goes through South America. You're trying to tell me the Most High said that now we're not going to put any dark-skinned people on that planet, on that continent? That's what dude is trying to make me believe. But when I catch him, had him admit that dark-skinned people was already here, all of a sudden, well, they're not black. Bro, and that's how they're catching y'all people, by calling you black, and y'all don't get that. Because Africans were considered black. We never called ourselves black. But you Negroes, for some reason, you just want to be black. You want to be a color. And that's why these people are able to do what they're doing to us. They have the organizations established, and you are being excluded, exiled in your own home. But y'all heard the conversation. You be the judge. But I'm glad that the ancestors led me to make this call today to expose it. Okay? To expose it. But anyway, leave your comments below. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I heard things that's not there. But leave your comments below. And like I said, I'm just trying to link right now with people, man, that's ready to make moves, man. That's it. I ain't got time for the games. Period. All right? Because this is a claim right there. Okay? This is a claim. Okay? For one, it's a biased claim. Okay? Number two, it's a discriminatory claim. Because I told you I'm dark-skinned, you assume that I'm African. You feel me? But then you have to revert when I have to drop the science on you. And once again, it is scientifically proven, historically, archaeologically proven that every person on this planet was dark-skinned. So where all these light-skinned people and all these so-called white people, where did they come from? It's either they came from another planet or they came from the womb of a melanated woman. I rest my case. Peace.